So let's go ahead and take a look here at example number 7 and try to, recap all of the ideas here. Now actually, what I'm going to suggest that you do right now is to pause this video and see if you can answer all of these questions, at least give them your best attempt. And then what you can do once you've finished answering them is you can unpause the video and see me work through the explanations. I will do this very, very frequently in videos this semester, and it's a really important thing that you take advantage of the time that I'm suggesting you take, because you want to make sure that you get the idea and not that when I explain it, it makes sense. That's really not the measure of if you understand. We've all been in classes before where you understand the teacher's explanation, and then the moment you go home and try to work on something yourself, you find that you totally forgot how to do it and it doesn't make sense anymore. So use this opportunity right now to pause the video and see if you can understand what's going on. And then when you unpause, you'll see me work through the solutions. Okay, so hopefully you actually did that. You took some time to try each of these individual questions out. Let's talk through them individually. What we'll notice is that the first 3 questions here are really just asking me again about where the function is at a specific point in time. And the first one here is actually a little bit difficult right off the bat, because if I ask, what y value is there when I plug in -4, I have to start searching for the dot, for the point. Are there any points here? No. So what I would say is that this is undefined. There is no y value when I try to plug in -4. So be careful of that, especially if you answered 2. Remember that this is a whole, so 2 is not a point on the graph. Okay, let's see here. F of 1. So if I plug in the x-coordinate of 1, again, I have to go above or below to find the point. Here it is. And the y value is 4. Same thing when I plug in 6. If I plug 6 in, I have to look for the point. Here it is. That's got a y-coordinate of 2. Now these questions, of course, will be different than the limit questions, which will say to hop on the path of the function and walk towards the appropriate x. Notice here we're starting with a one-sided limit. So it says jump on the path called f of x, move towards 6, but from the left side. So I'm going to be trying to move towards this x value, but I got to start to the left of it. So maybe I'll imagine starting like over here on the function. And I'm going to keep moving towards that, and I want to think, okay, by the time I get to being right above 6, what y value does it look like I'm moving towards? Well, that's the value of 5. All right, let's try that again with a different set of values. Here, I'm going to be working with approaching -4 from the right. So here's -4, but I want to start to the right side of it. So maybe I start up here, and I start moving towards -4. What y value does it look like I get close to? Yeah, I get close to 2. What about now if I swap that up, and I say I'm going to be approaching 1? Notice here, what direction am I approaching 1 from? I'm approaching from both sides at the same time. Okay, so I'm approaching 1, and I got to start this way and try to approach 1, following the path, but also this way. Notice I'm starting to the left and also to the right of 1, and I'm going to see where I'm led. Notice if I come this way, I hit the value of 4. And if I come at it this way, I'm being led towards the value of -2. So is there a single value that I approach? No. And so that would tell me that this limit does not exist. There is not one single value that I end up approaching. Okay, well now let's take a look at the very last one here. Let's approach 6. Notice here, from both sides. So if I approach it from the left, I'd be moving like this, up towards here. If I approach it from the right, I'd be moving like this. And I want to see as I approach from both directions, where am I being led? Notice from one side, I'm approaching 5. From the other side, I'm approaching 5. And so kind of like what I have up here, if both sides lead me to the same point, then the limit is exactly that. So here both directions are leading me to the y value of 5, so I'm being led to the value of 5. Hopefully you were able to get some answers like this. And if not, you might want to take note of which ones you got wrong. Are there any themes or patterns in the ones that maybe you missed? Like, did you incorrectly determine the one-sided limits or the two-sided limits? Or maybe did you have difficulty in thinking about the difference between the function value and the limit value? It's important to try to note that because that might give you a clue as to what to go back and review. Now, in addition to this, if you still feel like you need more practice before moving on to the rest of this section, I might advise that you go ahead and take a look at the worksheets associated with this section. The 2.2 worksheet is posted up in Blackboard underneath the Exam 1 Materials folder, and that will allow you to practice some of these ideas before we get into the final topic of infinite limits.